Let's talk about a team that learned a really tough lesson. Moving faster doesn't always mean you're moving forward. It's a classic story about a ghost in the machine. But here's the twist. This isn't some supernatural phantom. It's a ghost they built themselves, piece by piece, out of code and neglect. So I want you to start by asking yourself this one critical question. The speed your team is showing off right now, is that a sign of incredible performance? Or are you all just flooring it straight towards the edge of a cliff? This is the core tension we're going to unpack today. And that leads us right into our first act, the velocity trap. Ah, yes. This is that beautiful, seductive moment where everything looks perfect. All the charts are going up and to the rights, and the team feels completely unstoppable. But, it's all an illusion. Okay, so let's set the scene. This is Neo, a young, super talented engineer. His team just did something that sounds amazing on paper. They got rid of their entire quality assurance process. QA, that thing that checks for bugs. And the result? Whoa. Their deployment speed went through the roof, from weeks to mere minutes. The energy is just electric. They feel like they are absolutely flying. But here's where the illusion kicks in. To leadership, this looks like a massive win. What they're actually falling for is a classic trap. They're mistaking raw output, what we call throughput, for actual stable progress or value delivered. Think about it like this. Throughput is just counting how many boxes you get out the door. Value delivered is about whether those boxes have the right stuff inside and didn't break on the way. They're measuring the motion, not the mission. And this is when our mentor character, the principal, shows up and just drops this truth bomb. It's really the heart of this entire lesson. The team was so sure that QA was a bottleneck, something slowing them down. But the principal sees it for what it is, the brakes on the car. And you don't win a race by ripping out your brakes. So we have to totally redefine what velocity means. It is not just about speed. True velocity is speed plus direction. Quality assurance, when it's done right, isn't there to make you go slower. It's the guidance system, the brakes and steering, that makes sure you're moving fast and safely to the right place. It's how you control your progress. And just like that, the high is gone. The party's over. Because as we're about to see in Act 2, every single shortcut has a price. The real cost of driving without brakes is about to become terrifyingly clear. The ghost they stopped looking for? Yeah, it's here. The whole scene just flips. 2 weeks later, the server room is a nightmare. It's a sea of red error messages. You can just feel Neo's panic. The system is so brittle now that every time they try to fix one thing, 2 more things break. The machine is literally eating itself alive. And this chart, wow, this shows you the real cost in brutal terms. Any tiny bit of time they saved by skipping QA is now completely dwarfed by the time it takes to clean up the mess. I mean, look at that purple bar for fix time. It's gone vertical, completely eclipsing the time they saved. This is what we call mean time to recovery, and it's a huge negative return on investment. That early speed was a loan, and the interest payments are just astronomical. So, with the entire system in a nosedive, it's time for a real diagnosis. The principal comes back, not to point fingers, but to find the real root cause. And it's so much deeper than just a few bugs. Using his architect sense, the principal looks right past all the flashing error messages. He can see the real problem isn't the new code they've written. No, it's the crumbling foundation that everything is built on top of. The core architecture is fundamentally unstable. He even gives it a name, structural rot. And listen, this isn't your garden variety technical debt, like some messy code. This is way, way more dangerous. We're talking about outdated frameworks, vulnerable components. The very ground your digital skyscraper is built on is literally turning to quicksand. This is a 5-alarm operational risk. And here is the number that should honestly terrify any leader. When structural rot takes hold, it can eat up to 80% of your total engineering capacity. Let that sink in. That means 4 out of 5 of your engineers are doing nothing but fighting fires and trying to keep the lights on, instead of building new value. It's a death spiral for innovation. But there is a way out. This brings us to the final act, the solution. And it's not about going backward. It's about moving forward to a much smarter way of building things. The principal lays out the strategy. Shift left. The name is pretty simple. It's about moving quality control from the far right of the project timeline, right at the end, and shifting it all the way to the far left, to the very beginning. It's a total change in mindset. This really gets to the core of the whole shift left idea. The old way treated quality like a gatekeeper you had to get past at the end. It was all about inspection. The new way, the shift left way, is all about prevention. You don't inspect quality into a product, you build it in from the very first line of code. So, how do you actually do this? Well, the principles blueprint breaks it down into 3 pillars. First, you build automated guardrails, so the code basically checks itself. Second, dependency hygiene. This is huge. It means you are constantly keeping your tools and frameworks up to date to prevent that structural rot we talked about. And third, observability. You build in the tools to actually see what's happening inside your system in real time, not waiting until after it all comes crashing down. And right here, you can almost see the light bulb just flick on for Neo. He gets it. All that maintenance work, updating things, cleaning up code, it isn't some chore that gets in the way of shipping features. It's a critical business investment. It's just asset protection for your most valuable digital property. Okay, let's pull all these lessons together into what we're calling the architect's ledger. These are really the bottom line takeaways for any leader who wants to build something that lasts. The goal is not that chaotic, spiky graph of speed we saw at the beginning. No. The goal, the new normal, is this: a steady, predictable, beautiful green line. This is what mature architecture looks like. True velocity is sustainable and predictable because quality isn't an afterthought. It's woven right into the fabric of how you work. Let's bust the 2 biggest myths that get stakeholders and managers into so much trouble. Myth number 1, QA slows us down. The business reality? A lack of QA leads to system-wide meltdowns that stop you completely. Your cost of delay becomes infinite. Myth number 2, technical debt is just a problem for the techies. The reality? It is a massive business risk that compounds over time, just like financial debt, and it will cripple your ability to innovate. And we end with the principle's final piece of wisdom. The lesson of the ghost in the machine is that frantic heroics can't save you from a flawed foundation. True heroism in engineering isn't about pulling all-nighters to fix a crisis. It's about having the foresight and the discipline to build things the right way from the very beginning. Think like an architect, build like a hero.